Oh, okay. So you said men who tend to stick to one, and this was a while ago.
Oh, yeah,
so
they're
I'm
weak.
rewinding. They're weak, right?
Super weak.
But wouldn't you say that being, I guess, celibate as a man and like resisting like sexual urge would be
No, those persons are
like
mentally
strong-minded?
unwell.
Mentally unwell.
They're mentally unwell. I'll give you
But to
two
restrain.
Wow. So according to Marquette Burton, resisting sexual urges and practicing celibacy means that you are mentally unwell. You are mentally ill. You are mentally ill, guys, if you resist sexual urges and you practice celibacy. Anyways, guys, I'm reacting to Marquette Burton. He has a YouTube channel called The Saint and the Sinner. And on this particular episode, he is an invited guest at Fresh and Fit. I heard a statement that he made. I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, and now I'm doing a reaction to it. So let's see his explanation. Let's see if he has a valid explanation for why he said what he said.
From sex, I feel like that's very like strong-minded.
You feel right.
I do feel like it's an opinion.
Go ahead. I'll give you some clear examples. You ever heard of any scandals within the Catholic Church?
Like pedophilia?
Yeah, pedophilia.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that the persons who are committing pedophilia, these are the ones who take a vow of celibacy, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's sexual repression.
Okay.
You look in psychology, even if you look at basic folks like Freud, they know that sexual repression causes you to act out in bad ways.
Yeah.
And generally, when you see people who are repressing things that are natural and innate, that doesn't lead to good outcomes.
That was a lot there. That was a lot there. So, all right, let me see if I get this right. Celibacy is sexual repression, and sexual repression leads to a person becoming a pedophile. That's the logic. That's the logic. So by that logic, all right, by that logic, every nun, every priest, every Buddhist monk is a pedophile. Every person that waits until they get married to have sex is a pedophile. Every human being on earth is a pedophile. According to that logic, that's what that would mean. Why? Because every single person on earth is sexually represses themselves or suppresses their sexual desires up to a certain extent, up to a certain degree. Maybe not to the degree of a priest, maybe not to the degree of a nun or a Buddhist monk, but we definitely suppress our sexuality up to a certain degree. And according to him, sexual repression leads to what? It leads to pedophilia. Well, I obviously think this is nonsense. This is absolute rubbish. But you know what? Let's get into it. Let's define a couple of things here. Let's define what sexual repression is today. I've got the definition here from Medical News Today. Sexual repression, definition, signs, and more. So sexual repression is the conscious or unconscious suppression of sexual desires, thoughts, behaviors, or expressions. Repression of sexual desire may stem from cultural norms, including those relating to religion. It may also occur as a result of personal beliefs. All right, so people suppress their sexuality, okay, through personal beliefs, not just religion, also through personal beliefs, and also through traumatic experiences. All right, so there are many reasons why people would suppress their sexuality. All right, but so that's what sexual repression actually is. So, and once again, it's the sexual repression is the conscious or unconscious suppression of sexual desires, thoughts, behaviors, or expressions. All right, now let's look at what celibacy is. All right, what is celibacy? Celibacy is the practice of not having sex. But not everyone defines celibacy the same way. Some people abstain from all kinds of sexual contact, including kissing or holding hands. Others only refrain from sexual intercourse. All right. Okay. Now let's look at so that's the definition for celibacy. Let's look at some benefits of being celibate. This is what does celibacy do for a woman. So celibacy implies self-sacrifice. Let's see if celibacy does bad things for women, turns women into pedophiles. Let's have a look at that. Celibacy implies self-sacrifice, but it is a positive way to live for those that choose it. There are many, so it's a positive way to live for those that choose it. Okay. All right, I don't see no pedophilia there. There are many benefits to celibate life, both psychological and spiritual. Many benefits for celibate life. That doesn't sound like pedophilia to me. These benefits include an increased focus on goals, protection from the anxieties of relationships and sexuality, and increased closeness with God. Don't sound like pedophilia to me. All right, we've got another definition here. Celibacy is a vow to remain abstinent over an extended period of time. For some, this may mean their entire life. With both celibacy and abstinence, it's ultimately up to the individual to determine what is and isn't included in their lifestyle and what sexual activities they are or aren't comfortable limiting. Okay. Is celibacy healthy for a man? Let's find out. Well, because according to Marquette Burton, celibacy leads to sexual repression. Sexual repression leads to pedophilia. Okay, so men who practice celibacy, even for a short time, often see increased testosterone levels and feel more intimate with their partner if they have one. It can give relationships time to blossom as friendships before complicating them with sex. This can allow for a deeper connection with your partner. So relationship-wise, we can even see celibacy in relationships. It's actually quite good for the relationships. I don't see where they are turning into pedophiles yet, but you know what? Let's carry on. All right. What does celibacy do for men? I think this is the same as before. Celibacy implies self-sacrifice, but it is a positive way to live for those that choose it. There are many benefits to celibate life, both psychological and spiritual. These benefits include an increased focus on goals, protection from the anxieties of relationships and sexuality, and increased closeness with God. It's the same as before. So again, nothing to do with pedophilia. It doesn't lead to pedophilia. All right. Okay, so let's define pedophilia. Pedophilia, also spelled pedophilia, also called pedophilic disorder or pedophilic disorder or pedophilia disorder in conventional usage. All right. So pedophilia, psychosexual disorder generally affecting adults, characterized by sexual interests in prepubescent children or attempts to engage in sexual acts with prepubescent children. Okay. All right. So it's a psychosexual disorder generally affecting adults characterized by sexual interest. Doesn't sound nothing like celibacy, does it? All right. Me personally, I don't think that pedophilia is a sexual disorder. Me personally think it's the general pervasive behavior that human beings are capable of. That's what I think of. I think it's a choice. I think it's an evil choice that humans make, but I don't think it's a psychosexual disorder. Sorry, some kind of disorder, mental disorder. I don't believe in that. Yeah, I wanted to quickly address something that he mentioned, which is priests. For some reason, people like to, whenever they mention priests, they like to connect it to pedophilia. I mean, don't get me wrong, the mainstream media has done a very good job in brainwashing people into believing that priests are pedophiles. To me, I find that quite insulting, since we are talking about a very small minority that have been accused of such heinous and horrific acts. The truth is this. The mainstream media obviously has an agenda against the Catholic Church. Why? Because we can find pedophilia everywhere. Pedophilia, it can be found in every single institution. Everywhere. It's all around the world, but for some reason they like to target the Catholic Church. I personally find that quite insulting. All right? Okay, now, I want to dig deeper into his logic. All right? Will people who wait until marriage turn to pedophiles? Let's dig into that deeper now, because they are repressing this. They are suppressing their sexuality. Okay, they are going through sexual repression, and they are consciously doing it because they are waiting till marriage. So will men and women who choose to wait until marriage become pedophiles according to his way of thinking? Because it is sexual repression after all, isn't it? All right. What about morality? Will people who repress their sexuality because of morality become pedophiles? Well, no, they won't. They will not become pedophiles. Just like the person who waits until they get married will not become a pedophile, most likely. And if they do become pedophile, it will have nothing to do with repressing their sexuality. Okay, it will have to do with some other perverse way of thinking, or according to science, is a mental disorder. But the fact is that people suppress their sexual desires for many reasons. One of them being moral reasons. Okay, I might find a woman attractive. There are plenty of attractive women out there. I might not. She might want to, have sex with me, and I might turn around and say no because of what? Because I have a wife, because I have children, because I don't want to break up my family. There are plenty of moral reasons why we resist our sexual urges. Plenty of moral reasons. For the most part, human beings do not act upon their sexual urges for moral reasons. So are they going to turn into pedophiles? Are they going to become pedophiles? You see how his argument doesn't make sense at all? It's complete nonsense. I mean, let's look at human beings in general, right? All human beings, apart from the fact that we all know for most of our lives, we suppress our sexual desires, and that could be, and for most of the time it's to do with moral reasons. But let's just look in general how much sexuality is a part of human life. Sexuality is a very small part of a human being's life, and that has to do with many reasons. That has to do primarily because we are consistently suppressing our sexual desires. Consistently. Why? Because we prioritize other things. We find other things more important than just going around and sleeping around. In spite of the hookup culture that we currently have today, human beings still, when you look at a human lifespan, the amount of time that they spend on having sex, it's actually, percentage-wise, you're talking about 20%, if that. That means for the majority of that lifespan, we are worried about other things. We're prioritizing other things. Are we becoming pedophiles? Marquette Burton, are we becoming pedophiles? Anyways, guys, I just wanted to react to this video because I thought it was... I didn't like it one bit, all right? But anyways, I hope you guys liked the reaction. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next reaction. Peace.